Hey everyone, I know I bring him up a lot, but I'm never surprised at the new shit that xQc does, because his reaction to stuff never shocks me. And I'm sure most of you have seen the clipped reaction he had posted to his channel of him soy-facing to a video for a missile strike in Gaza. This isn't surprising to me, because he's always found new stuff to react to, even if it is a bit tone deaf. But what takes this further is his reaction to people on Twitter criticizing him, where he throws out the typical xQc response of just flexing his money, which just makes him look more like a spoiled kid who doesn't know how to react to hate. So while there are other streamers who are giving good points about this conflict, you have him just watching bombing videos and giving no input, just to keep all of his Sumer fans on his stream.
Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, and today is a very rare video. It's a video where apparently, I'm gonna be honest with you, I think I'm defending xQc. Now, about a month, 2 months ago, I had a little bit of a, argument with this individual because me and him just did not get along or see eye to eye in terms of reaction content. Now, for those of you who need a quick primer, xQc was lambasted in front of the world because he would just put on somebody else's video, get up, go somewhere else, and basically freeboot a video, kind of like the stuff you'd see from SS Sniper Wolf. I would argue a little bit lazier because at least she's there on the chair watching. But ladies and gentlemen, today I gotta kind of defend him on a little bit of a point that I find to be wild. Now, ladies and gentlemen,
this is gonna be interesting because I thought he was gonna start it off by saying that what he did was shit.
And
Which he'll show in a minute what I'm talking about, if you don't know.
Corner of the internet, there is a real world out there with real world problems, and one of them is an actual war going on. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you've obviously probably heard of the Israel-Palestine situation, and if you ever wonder why I've not talked about it when it initially dropped weeks ago, that's because I'm not an expert, okay? I'm just a guy on the internet that plays video games, talks about video game stuff, talks about internet culture stuff, and from time to time, I will definitely look into viruses, the deep web, and do crazy shit. So again, that's pretty much the extent of my expertise, if you can call it that. There are far, far more channels out there that give far more comprehensive, realistic, journalistic coverage into this stuff. Something that I can never do because it's not something that I have any expertise in. Now, xQc uploaded a video onto his main channel, or rather, let me be correct here, the editor did, okay? Learning about the Israel-Palestine conflict so you don't have to. Now, that's pretty wild.
I think it was interesting that he pointed out specifically the editor. That's a good point. It's not like xQc himself uploaded the video. I mean, at the end of the day, right now, even though this is the beginning of the video, I'm taking the stance that, like, what he did was kind of shit by putting on a clip and then doing the soy face. I'll put up a quick snippet of the clip right now in case you haven't seen it before. But yeah, when I first saw it on Twitter, I was like, Jesus Christ, you have to be really depraved to like have the kind of reaction to that awful shit. But it is true, the editor did clip it and post it on YouTube. But at the end of the day, he himself still did it on stream. So it is kind of like a 50-50 of like, even though he didn't upload it, he still reacted to it and did the face to it.
Real? It sounds kind of condescending if we're going to be honest here. But to understand, xQc was lambasted for this in front of the world. He had this clip from his clips channel where he was pog soy facing, like, let me do the soy jack.
I'll do it as well.
One of those, xQc reacts to an actual like bombing. Now obviously the community vilified this behavior, said that you're literally just uploading this to make a few bucks off the AdSense because people are going to be searching for this tragic event in that period of time. And you could argue the same thing for xQc. Now times have changed. And in xQc's defense, there are plenty of channels that are covering this situation right now. For instance, some of the largest political channels on the internet, Destiny for instance, has covered this topic for weeks now with several banger, high-viewed videos. Creators like Hasanabi, who is one of the largest political streamers in the planet, has covered this topic and discussed it. Now, you can argue that these guys obviously have a background on this subject. This is content that pertains to them, okay? This is why I don't make Roblox roleplay video content, because nobody comes to my channel to watch fucking Roblox roleplay high school content, okay? Just like nobody, and that's sort of the point that I'm making over here, right? Everyone has their own niche. These guys are just able to cover this content without that ick associated with covering actual tragic breaking events. Now, does that mean that people should be locked out from discussing what they want? Absolutely not. And in this case, I actually am in defense of xQc because I really do think anybody should be allowed to make this kind of content, period. Now, you might consider it to be scummy, but at the same time, I look at it from the bigger picture perspective. Obviously, this content will be covered. And on YouTube, it already is. If you go and search up this actual topic right now, you'll probably find that most YouTube content is coming from like actual verified, trusted news sources, right? YouTube has a special designation for like large-scale media channels like Fox News, for instance, or CNN, or Vox, or Vice, or a lot of these big publications. And they're typically allowed to discuss these topics with no impunity. They have ads played on there, they're not deboosted in the algorithm, and they're able to get by and discuss really serious situations. YouTubers, in a lot of ways, are mostly hampered in discussing. Oftentimes, their content will get demonetized, it will get age restricted, and yeah, that's pretty much how it comes by. For instance, I made a video a while back discussing the North Korean poisoning of one of the Kim family. And I used a clip from the New York Times, or I believe. And that clip got taken down. That clip, not taken down, it got age restricted. The same clip that played without an age restriction on a major news network. So in terms of YouTube, I'm always like, okay, if YouTubers can also do journalism and discuss these topics alongside the bigger content creation like houses. Now, xQc is where that whole argument, I'm going to leave right there. xQc is not exactly one of the biggest experts in the world, okay?
I was about to say, it did seem like it was taking a weird turn to him, like, defending him as being a journalist, which he's probably, like, on the opposite side of the spectrum of being.
Shortly after that, Israel gave sign a...
Yeah, this is a really bad question, chat. Why don't they just... And this will sound really bad. Why don't they take the whole piece of land, full reset, all the same, and just call it like a Landia.
Yeah, he a real fucking diplomat, ain't he? This that peace-talking motherfucker we should have sent to the Middle East.
We need men like him in the embassy. I didn't even hear what he said. Look, stay here, Landia.
Sometimes I love that childlike wonder, dude. God damn it. But yeah, that's this is the kind of guy we should have sent for peace in the Middle East, I guess you could say. Now, of course, this video is learning about the conflict. And again, even if it's condescendingly titled, I do appreciate that he's watching a whole range of content in its entirety just to understand this really complicated situation right now.
I refuse to believe that he took anything of it.
You're going to xQc to learn about a topic like this.
Exactly,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ. But again, to go back to it, there's a lot of other creators creating content about this topic, so I think to single out xQc is a little bit too much, okay? I really don't think it's okay. I think it's actually hypocritical to go after him for covering this content if, like, pretty much a grand majority of, like, political YouTube already is. Like, I think it's just weird to do. However, this is where my niceties kind of end, okay? Because what xQc does next is downright sad and cringe, okay? So in response to this topic, I'm gonna flashbang you with something that I swear to God I didn't fake, okay? xQc responds, huh?
I listen to, huh?
Bag of money,
That's so fucking funny.
up to his like head. All right, he's flexing that cash. Now, obviously, people will look at this and say, "My God." Talk about being tone deaf, ladies and gentlemen. There are deaf people, okay, that are less tone deaf than this entire situation. Okay, this is just blatantly stupid. Now, of course, xQc was another creator, good friend of the show. Quite says, "Your soul remains empty."
I wanted him I'm gonna give some context to what he's replying to, because that makes it way 10 times funnier. Let me see if I can find it on Twitter. Oh, sorry, X. It's called X now. Yeah, there was a one by, most of you might know about the animator Noodle, and she said, yeah, like, you couldn't make shit up like this, even if you tried, and that's a really good point. And if you go back down, yeah, this was what he was replying to, just like a simple, posting a picture of his money. And to be honest, that is a pretty good defense you make on why you reacted to that clip with such a like childish reaction. And one more thing I want you talk about before I carry on the video is I love how whenever surrounding xQc blows up, the internet is like specifically like news accounts swoop in and fucking ravage whatever news they can get. For example, by Kotaku, he said they made an article said internet drags scumbag xQc for Gaza reaction video, and then Noodle responded, "That's not the word I used." So already this so quick to like twist what the actual situation was to make it seem much more dramatic, because that's the only way you can apply to people like a short attention span by making it more exaggerated than it actually is. But I'm gonna put on the video because I'm pretty sure he's gonna bring up the second reply he made to someone else by flexing his watch.
xQc always responds with "your bank account relates,"
yes,
where he shows this watch. Now, I don't know exactly how much this watch costs.
He really does have the mind of a 13-year-old in the like the health-ridden body of this fucking human being.
Clearly got some utility, ladies and gentlemen. But again,
I'm sure this is the second time he posted a picture of his watch after the H3 podcast.
Like, xQc is so weird to me. It's not like I'm witnessing like a douche tuber from back like in 2015 that literally just showcased cash to like a 12-year-old audience to make themselves seem cool. No, this is like an actual talented individual who
talented? No. How can you say that talented? I've always been amazed at how big xQc is, but I understand why. He came from like a esports kind of background, which in terms of streaming, that's the best way to get really popular. But I cannot see what's so entertaining about him. I'm guessing there is like that childlike wonder, like you said before. But even then, I can't imagine watching him that often, like on a daily basis. My brain would just turn to mush. I can't handle it.
Now, money is one of those things in my life that comes and goes, but money is never a replacement for character and personality.
No, yes it is. Yes it is. Shut up.
Dim amount of it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, do I think xQc is an evil person for reacting to a serious situation? Absolutely not. I think
but he's tone deaf. He's gonna say no, he's tone deaf.
Honestly, as far as I'll ever talk about this specific situation, I really don't think innocent civilians on either side dying is okay. I think the governments responsible for this, Israel specifically, is pretty bad in terms of creating news reports, feeding them to these Palestinians, telling them in English that, hey, this is where we're going to be attacking, while simultaneously cutting off their network, food, water, resources. I mean, what like that is just downright evil from the outside looking in. And obviously, a terrorist organization that's somehow being defended by a few individuals is downright insane to me. There are terror situations involved that should be unanimously fucking hated, okay, by everyone. Because ultimately, these organizations use civilians to hide behind. And that's pretty much where the extent of my actual research goes, okay? If you somehow disagree with me saying civilians shouldn't be dying, then I think the problem lies with you. I have talked about serious situations on my channel too. So again, I've talked about the do not join the cyber war. Now, this is a video I made about over a year ago, where I actually used my resources, my understanding of the cyber warfare department, like understanding malware, virus investigations, and I showcased how Russian state organizations were actually spreading, like, attacking tools and just getting random people to download them and use them and participate in a cyber war campaign between Russia and Ukraine. Now, obviously, I made this video because I understand this topic, and I understand the technology behind all of it. And a lot of this was telling people not to get involved in something that can cause other people obvious harm, and also you yourself harm for getting involved.
This is what I really respect about Mudaha, because with a channel this big, you can't expect him to like make videos on any random news, because most like channels like this that make videos daily about like drama happening around like every day, they do kind of have to like force themselves to research it, to make an actual video on it, which most of the time comes out rushed, because they can't really get a good understanding in a few hours, because they have to like they have to prepare what they have to say, record it, then edit it, and if they really want to make it as top quality as possible, it's gonna take a long ass time, and they can't really rely on that to make it daily. Therefore, they have to like force it to be like a much more simpler version, and therefore miss out some details. But with Mudaha, he at least understands that if he comes into a situation rushing, he's not gonna get the best understanding of it. Therefore, he doesn't want to like spread fake news, so he sticks to like what he knows best. And I should respect that, because if you make videos on the biggest drama, you can get a lot of views, but that doesn't mean that you're giving like actual accurate information on the topic, so it is kind of like harmful. So I respect him for right out the gate not making a video on the conflict, but making more about xQc, because he knows he doesn't have the best understanding of the conflict, but he doesn't understand like what xQc was doing is kind of shitty. And from whatever angle you stand at, the way he was reacting to it, and the replies like it is kind of fucked up. So I respect him for his honesty and admitting why he hasn't made a video on it. And or maybe he might in the future, but he's saying right now it might not come out as soon as possible because he wants to like research it as much as possible.
I don't think making content on serious situations is bad or unmonetizable if you actually have something worthwhile to provide to it. xQc does not. xQc is not an intelligent individual when it comes to this topic. He's smart when it comes to a bunch of other shit, don't get me wrong.
Is he?
But when it comes to this stuff, it just comes across pretty shitty. And I do agree with him in the sense that there's other creators who create content talking about this subject, but then it all fucking gets thrown into the wind when this guy's just out there flexing money like a douche tuber from 2015.
As you mentioned, with most of his fans being Zoomers, he is really kind of like memeing under the conflict where people actually died and making it seem more like insane. Like, oh my god, people, this city got blown up. Whoa, that's crazy, fam. That's crazy, Chad.
Gaming era when some creators actually use like really, really insane scenarios to push their metrics a little bit higher. But it's also one of those scenarios that I'm looking at too that isn't just entirely related to xQc either. It's also related to YouTube in large as well, right? Like clearly I think if you're a creator, you should be allowed to discuss these things, obviously if they fall within your purview. I think if you just do this as sort of like, I think it's really shitty for a lot of people to look at what xQc is doing because it really from the outside looks like he's watching this, like it's YouTube videos, like it's drama content, when in reality, these are real people's lives currently being uprooted and destroyed. It's one of the reasons actually why I didn't even cover the Johnny, the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial, not because I didn't have interest in it,
I was like, for
but
fuck's
because
sake,
it
not
felt
this
like
guy
a
again.
lot of YouTube friends and the people watching that content were treating an abuse trial as if it was actually just like a team sport, okay? And there are limits.
No, absolutely, yeah. That court case got memed over so much, it was actually painful.
From it, yeah. Obviously, that's how trends work. But there has to be some ethical limit involved in here. And I kind of wish xQc saw it the way that I see it. But yeah, it's weird, man, honestly. There's not much to say other than, goddamn, expectations were low, but somehow drilled me right to the center of the earth, my man.
Right down to the center. Well, with a daily streamer, they really are starved for any content, so you can't really expect them to. You can't really expect them to be patient and find the best possible content. Whatever's new and big, immediately just make a reaction to it. So who gives a shit? Plus, it doesn't really matter if you shit on xQc, because he has such a die-hard fan base that they probably saw the clip of him reacting to the video of the missile strike, and they were like, "That's awesome." So I really feel like xQc and his fan base are on the same mental wavelength. Therefore, they don't really see us as that morally wrong, so they don't really give a shit. And they're still gonna watch it. And I wanted to mention now that when he was first reacting to that video of the actual conflict, I feel like if I put it on right now, I won't, because I'm not gonna sit through like a 10-minute long video of xQc standing there like a caveman, not taking any of the information in, and also because he probably put like no input in general situation. I mean, he gave that quick suggestion of like splitting up the country, call it Landia, whatever it was called. And so I feel like he only put it on for the actual like audience to watch it, because they're more interested in it than he is. And plus, most of the time, the fans only watch the video because like xQc is in there on the side reacting to it. So they always like having someone there to like watch the video with them. And one more thing that makes me really sad is that he's done way worse shit than this, and he's still like recovered from it. And I mean, like, he hasn't been really cancelled that massive for his stuff, which means like he's just gonna keep on doing it. Because with someone like him that's this popular and has a fan base this big, it is really actually make him stop what he's doing. Not to mention, he's made so much money, there really is no point in him quitting starting this like streaming career. So at this point, I don't want to be an idiot and be like, oh, he's gonna get cancelled soon or in the future, because it really is impossible to tell what's gonna happen. And also, the only good thing that might come out of him was just seeing like what new lows he's gonna hit, which he probably will in the future. Like this is barely the worst that's gonna get at.